Welcome to episode 2 of the Basmadjian Creative Spotlight podcast. My name is Yelena Basmadjian, co-founder of QAMI, and today we're featuring Mary Basmadjian. Mary is an Armenian-American stand-up comedian, actor, writer, and producer. She's been a fixture of the Los Angeles comedy circuit for 10 years, and recently rose to fame with her hilariously accurate reflection of the Armenian diaspora subculture. Her nuanced approach articulates the immigrant experience in a way that transcends cultural barriers. We chatted for nearly 2 hours, and I was impressed by Mary's authenticity and kindness. Mary is someone who's growth-focused and thinks about how what she says, especially in her comedy, affects others and the wider community. And yes, she is hilarious. If you're in the New York City area, come out on December 10th and 11th to see Mary perform in the Big Bad Armo show at the Leonard Nimoy Italia Theater at Symphony Space, on Broadway between West 94th and West 95th Streets. Here's some of my conversation with Mary. Mary, one of your characters is Bartush Tota, an immigrant from Armenia, whose reactions to everyday life in America and the absurdities of American popular culture land so well that I'm not always sure that they're parodies. Can you tell us about Bartush?
Sure. Bartush is that immigrant who does try to immerse herself into the culture as much as possible while trying to maintain her own culture as well. Initially, Bartush started out as one of the voices or characters that my mom would hang out with or whatever. And they're like the older Armenian women that give you diet tips when you don't ask them to.
Mm-hmm.
So initially, that's how she started with. But like the more I developed the character, I wanted to give her a voice that we usually would not see in our circles. And I wanted to put like the Armenian auntie in like pop culture juxtaposition situations. And because I wanted to see that, I wanted to see what it would be like if our aunties were body positive, were sex positive, were not as praising to their sons. You know what I mean? Like the opposite a little bit. And she kind of like morphed into that. And I feel like maybe she'll change a little more. I don't know, because I'm changing as a person, and I think the character changes with me as well.
That was one of the things that I like so much about Bartush, that she's not judgmental.
Right.
I feel like the character could be extremely triggering. You know what I mean? You're
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, I just heard that, and now I'm watching it.
Sometimes she can judge, but like even in that moment, she'll catch it and she'll like repackage it.
Has anyone in your family asked if they feed into a character or if you're somehow using them as material?
You know, my dad's cousin's name is Varteni. And at first she was like, when Vartush is not based on her at all. Like my aunt is very religious and very reserved woman. I'm like, this is definitely not you. Vartush is more like a mixture, I think, of like my grandma, a little bit of dad, a lot of the characters I saw growing up, like in our buildings. I lived in a building when I was a kid in Hollywood, and a lot of the people there were Armenian. So like there was a lot of characters to choose from.
You're fearless and you don't hold back. Did it take you time to develop that confidence? And what advice would you give to others trying to find their voice in their art?
Yeah, it's such a privilege and honor to be told that I'm fearless, where I don't view myself as that. I get scared sometimes, I'll be honest. I think like we all have our moments, but like usually if I'm gonna post something that I know is gonna poke at certain people, if you know what I mean, like I'll still go with it because I know it's a message that needs to be heard by a certain group of people, and I'll still go through with that. So the push for me is more so like, is this message worth getting out to the people that need it, versus is this going to cause division, is this going to cause too much drama, whatever the case is. I want to say in my younger years, maybe I was a little bit more not fearless, but reckless. Reckless. And I'm just so happy that the internet is not what it was when I was younger. Like you just had MySpace.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for that.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. We're probably the
but
same age. I was just thinking about that the other day.
yeah, imagine like it would not be good. I would not want that. And even like MySpace and some of the Facebook old stuff that comes up, and I'm just like, oh my God.
I
But
still have some stuff on LiveJournal that I've been trying to delete. Did you use did you use LiveJournal? Do you know
I
what that?
no, I didn't. So you would go online and you would journal like anonymously?
No, I was too stupid. I used like my actual name half the time.
Oh, because you were probably young and you didn't
It
think
was my
of like,
poetry. Yeah, and like
yeah.
we didn't know it would always be there.
And also the internet was the wild, wild west. Like we didn't know what was to come. I don't think anybody did, let alone the younger and like people that were. And I was thinking about this, like we've been on the internet for a couple decades already. Like it's been a long time and we wouldn't know what was to come. And I think like my advice to younger people is to yes be fearless but don't be reckless and don't like think that you don't have a internet footprint. Everything that we say and do on the internet is there forever. There are some things that I've probably said and posted that is just so stupid, and sometimes Facebook does a wonderful job of reminding me and I hate it.
So don't hold back, but be informed and thoughtful.
Be thoughtful. If it's not something you would tell a person to their face, don't comment it.
I actually, with respect to the Armenian community, I had to do a lot of apologizing to people as I grew older, more mature, and just stuff that I like said to people in my early 20s or like did was just not kind and not the person I want to be. But I see it a lot in younger people that they don't realize that, especially online, like we're people and you make a comment, especially in a small community, like everyone remembers that. Like we
Right.
see it, like we can figure out who you are. So
Right. And that's the thing too with the smaller communities is it's going to spread faster, and then like we are humans, we make mistake, but the internet doesn't let you forget it. Like for example, I'll put myself, I don't think I've ever posted this, I'm not sure if I have, but like I used to be at the mindset of if you're Armenian and you don't speak Armenian, you're not a true Armenian, which is so dumb. And I very much like as I got older, I realized that's not okay. That's something I learned from the adults around me
yeah.
who did make me like speak Armenian in the house. I wasn't allowed to speak English as a kid because they were like, that's your mother tongue, you're gonna forget it. So they were very like strict about it, and I was like, yeah, we gotta, but now I'm just like, no, we can't be doing that. Armenian is Armenian, and if someone doesn't know, we can teach them. We don't have to shame them, but we can teach them, which is like something I try to convey in my messages as much as possible, because even the Armenians in LA, there are a lot of people my age that don't speak Armenian very well, and they're really shy to speak. You know
Yeah.
what, like they're scared they're going to make a mistake or they're going to say something wrong, and
And unless
so
you practice, it's
right.
so I've taken so many Armenian classes because we didn't grow up speaking Armenian in my home. We spoke
Mhm.
Russian, which I'm not super proud of. But my family's from I was born in Baku in Azerbaijan, and most of my family's from Artsakh. Like people would literally say to my face, like including like adults, that, oh, you're not really Armenian because you don't speak Armenian and your family like didn't go through the genocide, which isn't true. I have two great grandmothers from Bonn, but like still, it's
Yeah.
a lot has changed the
Yeah.
last few years, and I think therapy helps.
Oh, for
If
sure. I love therapy.
if you're lucky enough to have access to it,
Get it.
get
I tell
it.
I
Yeah.
say it all the time during my shows, my Vartush Loves You shows at Flappers Burbank. I always say like to the Armenians, because it's predominantly Armenian audience, and I'm always just jamming them up with like, go to therapy, go to therapy. As a people, we've been through so much. go to therapy. Even if you think your life is normal, whatever. No, we have generational trauma. We need to go to therapy. So
Yeah,
I'm here for that.
exactly.
But we grow, you know, I think that's the purpose of this life is growth, learning and growing and evolving.
Are there any central themes or concepts that you try to convey through your comedy?
Mental health is really important. Mental health, being in the moment. This is something like I'm always trying to tell people, even after like my Vartush performances. Vartush can get very crass because like I'll go into the audience and like mess with the people, but like my theme or like my message is being in the moment, laughing through pain, because us Armenians have been through so much, but we need to laugh because laughter is medicine. And also, one of my other messages is to not shame each other so much. I think we have so much shame and guilt in our culture. And I even said this recently at a show of it doesn't matter if we're Beirutsi, Barskahai, Hayas, like it doesn't matter. We are Armenian. We need to stop shaming each other. We need to be more united in a way. And I try to bring that in as much as I can towards the end of my performances. And this kind of started after the pandemic because I realized we're not promised tomorrow and life can be very short, to be in the moment and to advocate for mental health, especially in our community. And like I'm surprised, but it can be taboo sometimes. Sometimes it means setting boundaries with family members, and people don't want to hear that, especially Armenians. They do not amota, or like that's your mom, that's your dad. So what? Mental health is important.
Is there anything that you're currently working on?
I'm currently writing my first one-woman show. It's about me. It's a little bit more serious, but there's comedy in it. I'm very excited. I'm hoping to premiere it this year at the Hollywood Fringe Festival. And fingers crossed, I'm like still working on it. Is it in the beginning stages? It's in the stages. But I'm working on this, and it's like a story that I know I've been wanting to tell for a very long time. And because I'm in therapy right now and I'm processing a lot, I think this is coming at a really good time where I'm writing and processing and writing. And it's going to bring together a great story that I can't wait to share with everyone. And I like that people like my characters and they find comfort in the comedy that I have to offer. But I feel like there is a bigger story or lesson or whatever to be learned from what I've been through in the past. And I want to share that with everyone. But I'm very excited. I think Vartush Tota is going to be in it. She might be the narrator. I don't know yet. But I know it's it's gonna be interesting, but there is like a lot that I feel like I want to put out there, and I'm very excited.
You have a show coming up in New York City on Saturday, December 10th and Sunday, December 11th. Can you tell us about those shows and how to purchase tickets?
Yes, the show is called Big Bad Armo Show. It's written and produced by Lori Tatulian, another very funny, talented Armenian woman. It's a sketch comedy, so it's going to be in English, but there's some Armenian thrown in, and it's very, very funny. She's been doing this show for almost 11 years now, I think, and she just has such a great talent for bringing all different kinds of walks of life and actors and actresses and combining it into this beautiful show that conveys Armenian messages and Americanized Armenian messages as well. You can get the tickets from the link in my link tree. It's at the Symphony Space in New York. I'm not from New York, so I don't know what area it is, but I know it's Symphony Space.
It's on the Upper West Side. I
There
think it's
we
on
go.
West 95th Street, and I'll figure out what the cross street is. We'll post it.
Thank you so, so much. And we just want to like see our East Coast Armos come out and laugh and have fun with us.